Howdy, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Margaret, and I like blue books. So I'm dressed in blue as there's blue behind me. Blue is just the theme of the day, I suppose. So I had a plan today to do this climate activism tag. And then I thought, oh, well, I'm not doing a tree book discussion on Wednesday because Alan can't make that anymore. So maybe I should do the climate activism on Earth Day so that there's an Earth Day themed stream. And then I forgot that in getting ready this morning. So I had a tag ready to switch out and I put it on my planner yesterday. But we're just going to go with the climate tag and see what comes up on Wednesday. Maybe we'll do tags then. Maybe some other Earth Day activity will come up. Maybe I will rail on about the tree that is endangered in my hometown where I'm staying right now. Anyway, hello. My name is Margaret. I'm a historical fiction author and an eclectic reader and a climate activist. So what I'll be doing today is talking about climate activism. I am a baby climate activist, so otherwise known as a micro activist, as I just heard someone describe it on TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a few categories that I've been experimenting with that help you dip your toe in and know where to start. So that's what we're going to do today. So welcome to the channel. And yeah, this is about making a plan. It's a day. We're going to do Earth Day every day, like it or not, but especially on April 22nd. So hopefully you have a fun thing planned. I've got a question of the day. In case people have answers, I'll pop that in. Probably not ready for this Earth Day yet, but in the past, any Earth Day you can recall, what's a memorable Earth Day activity you've participated in? Maybe in school you had tree plantings or coloring pages. Who knows? Anything you can remember. April 23rd is also Shakespeare's birthday, I believe. And April 21st is Charlotte Bronte's birthday. There's a lot of cool things happening in April, including Independent Bookstore Day on April 25th. So lots to prepare. Let's say hello to the chat. Jim is here. Apparently he has a scheduled lesson every time I schedule my live stream. And there's not much I can do about that. I'm sticking to my schedule. Yeah, that's what I just explained. And I just stay here because I don't want to confuse people. I may do it Wednesday. We'll see. Question of the day. So Gareth is here. We've got Cat Paw. If you had said something, I would have switched, but no one responded in the 5 minutes before, so I just stayed here. Hello, Cat Paw. Good morning. Anita is here. Hi. Anita's got a great video she just put up, which is about the new changes to draft to digital. I just got the email and scanned it and went, another brick in the wall, basically. So reading still matters. Good morning. This is a Canadian booktuber, and I'm thinking the name is Jeff, but I'm not sure because it's not in the title, and so it always leaves my brain. But hello and good morning. Yeah, so climate activism. Let's see. I've got banners today, and I'm not going to forget about them. So happy Friday. If you have any questions, pop it in the chat. And first piece of climate activism, find your door in. So this is my note. Oh, see, I changed to a different page. I changed to the Ray Bradbury page, and now I've got to find my climate activism one. Here we go. All right, so climate activism, find your door in. So climate, what does that mean? So to me, when I think of climate activism and doing something for the earth and trying to rein in the madness on the environmental side, I think the most important thing is community. So it's a climate community, but there are lots of doors in. There's an infinite number of doors in. And a really great way to visualize this is our Climathon bingo board that Tasman made. So Tasman is another channel on YouTube who started Climathon, and she has this lovely grid that has all these different aspects that affect and are affected by climate change. So water, earth, so we got those dualities. We've got non-human life, and that takes into account the other kingdoms. We've got injustice, we've got revolution, we've got activism. We've also got indigenous authors, which have a closer relationship with alternative science, let's say, because Western science has gotten us into a lot of trouble. We've got mindset, we've got connection, and hope. And those are the sort of more fudgy, let's call them, softer feelings, but really important in making community work. So find your door in. So for me, some of the doors that I've taken to get into climate community include plant knowledge and loving trees and policy wonkitude, basically, because I studied climate change policy in grad school, and that really opened up my eyes. But you could also be coming in, as on the thumbnail, because of polar bears or because of drought conditions or disaster preparedness, any of these things that are happening because of climate change. So whatever issue you really care about is a door into this community. And I just want to celebrate that and like be very inclusive about it. They all work. Plants, animals, fungi, water, agriculture, outdoors, indigenous, injustice, activism, revolution, policy, solutions. That's not in there because it's a subcategory, but I put waste. No buy is sort of a trend these days that people are curious about. Foraging is sort of like a trend these days that people are getting into. Peace, kind of important. Human rights, kind of important. Antitrust. There's lots of things. That's another doorway for me. So find your door in. That's my first piece. Oh, and what I forgot to say is that these are all things that I am just starting on. So don't take this as like, here's your outline, here's your checklist. These are things from someone who is doing all of these things just right alongside you. So these are just things that I've started doing, put my toe in the water, found some success, and I'm hoping they will yield more community solutions. So, from one baby activist to another. That's the attitude. So yeah, all inclusive and welcoming. Okay, good. Excellent. And Julie is here. Oh, hi, Julie. I'm sorry it's a bad pain day, but happy Friday and yay, Climathon. Julie's reading for Climathon, which is awesome. Julie also ordered Songs of Trees and Not From the Site, which shall not be named. Well, that is excellent. David George Haskell. Yeah, I went over that in the last wrap-up stream, and really a lot to think about. If you didn't catch the first minute of the live stream, though, I was talking about blue books. So some of these are current reads that are blue, and some of these are a book haul that is blue. I just thought it's funny. A lot of climate books are blue. Maybe that's because the ocean and the sky are blue. I don't know, but I like it. I am a blue book kind of person. So welcome. So find your door in and let me know what your doors are. So how would you get drawn into the climate community? What is the issue that you care about that you think, oh, well, I could do something on that, like what would get me to call a representative? Is it a nuclear thing? Is it endangered species? Is it budgetary concerns? Is it tribal sovereignty because lands are being infringed upon? What's your thing? So tell me in the comments, either now or afterwards for team replay, because I'm very curious. I like all the doorways. I've even read a fantasy book called something 10,000 Doors of, it's by Alex Harrow, and I can't remember the name of the character, but yeah, 10,000 doors. I love it. Let's have 10,000 doors into the climate community. The next banner I have is once you find one door, at least, you put some work in. So for me, that is basically project-based, right? Because I'm not a specialist. I am a generalist. I am an amateur. I am a dilettante, if you want to call it that. Just someone who likes doing lots of things to learn, right? So I worked on an organic farm volunteering for a summer and then realized, okay, that was a good experience. And now I'm going to go somewhere else to try something, right? I did not an apprenticeship, I guess you would say, a course in herbalism, and also an hour drive, just like the farm. So it wasn't very sustainable, but I stayed with it for a few months and learned some herbalism tenets, basically things about plants, things about identification, things about medicine from plants that are useful going forward. And the more I study other aspects, the more those get cemented. So it helps. Other projects that I've been involved in include the policy courses in grad school, which was really eye-opening. Subscribing to Heated, which is a really good climate change newsletter put out by Emily Atkin. She's really brilliant as a journalist, independent journalist. And these are just examples, right? So I find my door in, which is policy or trees or plants in general, and herbalism or foraging. And then I take a course, or I do a foraging dinner, or I go on walks myself and try to remind myself, which plants do I know, name them, get familiar. And so that's what I'm calling work. Like basically like develop a habit, give yourself homework, maybe invent a personal curriculum if you're silly like that. Or if that motivates you, right? I don't want to downplay it. And yeah, that's the work, is like being aware, sharing it with others, and acting differently. Because the problem with the climate crisis is that we are acting in a way that is going to burn up the earth. So we need to change our behavior, and that's where the work comes in. How do we change our behavior, and how do we change others' behaviors? So what else did I have for that? You can track endangered species near you, if that's your doorway in. Read about how microorganisms work and how they're keystone species. So my mom, for example, got really interested in mycorrhizal networks and how trees communicate. So there are several recent books that have talked about that. If you educate yourself on that topic, then you realize how things are connected, and then you can tell other people, and then maybe that affects how you plant your garden, or whether you protest the local city council taking down a tree. No reason. Let's see what else I have. Water quantity and quality near you. Oh, no bottled water. So there's a brochure that gets sent out in my county in Oregon about the water quality report once a year. And I always look at it and I'm like, how do I know what to compare this to? What's good? I realize that a lot of their language is like fluff language. It's like copywriting language. So who do I find to talk to tell me if our water quality is actually in a good place? Seeking out ways to educate yourselves and get to the real thing rather than the fancy brochure. That's some work. That's some work to do. Let's see. No bottled water, small agriculture, backyard gardens. Oh, and that's why I put this little emoji in, the carrot farmer. Plant identification and food independence is something that can be a doorway in. And the work there would be experimenting with a backyard garden. If you have a backyard, you want to put in a raised bed and try 2 or 3 crops. Maybe not be so ambitious to begin with. You can observe what works. You can read up on when to plant. You can read up on natural pest control. There's lots of things that can help food independence as a goal, starting out small, right? And so this is kind of what I'm supporting here. Just start out small, make a step, find your door in, put some work in, right? That ring true. National forests, national parks. That's some of the policy choices in the US that we're railing against. Whether you watch someone and you sign a petition from social media, or you go to a national park and volunteer because a lot of people have been fired and there's not people to do the work, whether you talk to nonprofits that are trying to fill in or do stopgap measures for fire prevention. There's lots of valuable work that needs to get done. And, you can find a niche basically anywhere you fit in if you're interested enough. I think the interest is what will make you follow and put in the work. And on that note, there's a quote at the beginning of one of my current reads that is so on point for exactly this thing, right? Climate activism and dipping your toe in before you jump in. And it's from Baba Dioum, who I don't know, but it's the dedication for On Time and Water. In the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. And because a lot of us are past education age, we need to teach ourselves. I just thought that was really powerful. So love, understand, teach. So yeah. What else do we have for work? Put some work in. Air quality in poor neighborhoods. Yes. One of the things I've heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talk about. So she's from the district of the Bronx in New York City. And one of the things I've seen multiple videos by her talking about is that when urban planners put big highways in, they put them next to schools and poor neighborhoods. And of course, then you have more lung problems and breathing issues and basically like depressed school performance. Now, it's not one-to-one, it's not directly causality based, but it is a very important factor in school performance. And if that's what you're basing on your understanding and your love of a subject, then you're putting people at a disadvantage because they're in a poor neighborhood. So if you're going to fight for air quality, it's an injustice issue, and you can lobby your representatives or your officials to change that policy and say, hey, maybe if we take this big street and make it one fewer lane, there's fewer cars. Maybe if we have, I know it's very expensive here in the US, but like a tram or a light rail or another choice that is mass transit, this will shift people's views and get less air pollution for this poor neighborhood that a lot of cars go through, that sort of thing. So once you think about what is affected in the cycle and how you can press your effectiveness at some point in that cycle, like that is change worthy. That is a step, right? That is putting some work in. Let me make sure I say hello. Hello, Diane. Good morning. And Gareth says that's a great passage. Yeah, the dedication for the beginning of On Time and Water. Very wise. Yeah. And I mean, it's like a perfect banner for this live stream about stepping into climate activism for Earth Day next Wednesday. What else is work? Broken treaties. Yeah. Ecosystem services. I put ecosystem services. So one of the things that's talked about in this book is that we don't value things unless they bring us money. And that's a real, not only cynical, not only capitalist, but terrible, terrible way to live, right? You need to compute ecosystem services to say, oh, well, I guess we'll keep this tree, or I guess we'll keep this national park because it generates tourism dollars, or it cleans air that we need to breathe. Like there are some ridiculous calculations going on. So familiarizing yourself with ecosystem services so you can argue with people would be good. How 3 branches of government affect people and land. Yes. So a lot of us here in the US and in other countries may not know exactly how our government works, how different branches or different agencies are responsible for different decisions. So familiarizing yourself with the government when it's such a monumental player in the space and can change a lot of decisions is really valuable. Not only that, but you'll get to know people that way, which is the next point. Let's see. Same for water, fresh and salt. Check garb options. What is this? Garbage options. Boycotts, free activities and spaces, dark money and monopolies. Ooh, that's one of my doors is dark money. So, I think social pressure and shame campaigns do have a part. When we boycott things, it's letting people know through one of the only avenues left to us, their wallets, that we don't like the policies they've adopted, right? And so if we're boycotting something, we have to know who to boycott. We have to know who's giving money to the cause, who's making these terrible decisions. But if it's dark money and it's hidden behind several paywalls and fictitious business entities, then you'll never know. So you don't know who you're interacting with or paying money to that is destroying the earth. So yeah, dark money, that's one of my doors. I read Jane Mayer's book 6 years ago, maybe, and it was like, oh, so good. I wish she'd write something else because she's a really great writer. Makes things very clear. Okay, so there's lots of things you can put in the work to understand. You can go to your library to read books about them. You can come to Climathon streams to hear about the lessons learned and more. So after you put the work in, what is my next advice category, it is find your people. Look for your people, right? So I won't use the word tribe because I think that's a little bit taking something that has a specific context, but there's the feeling, right? You want to feel your way to the people who get you, who will support you, who will inspire you, who will know things that you don't know and be able to support you. Look for your people. So this also helps with critical mass actions. You may have seen all the protests that we have here in the US, and the fact that people who are organizing those are trying to get them more and more and more. They're trying to break the 3.5% threshold, because as soon as you hit that, it's been shown that that really tilts the scales in favor of action. And what we need is action, not just the big one-day protests, right? So critical mass for mass action, I guess. There's all kinds of people right there. In Portland, for example, there are a lot of different doorways people come to those protests. And it's not just climate related. Obviously, it's the administration at the moment that is incurring such wrath amongst the general population. But for the climate community, I think it needs to grow just as big, right? We need to have that tipping point for climate action as well. And I don't think we've ever had it before. So like growing that, finding other people who care about the issues that you care about will be key. So protests, petitions, vote, of course, don't leave the easy fruit on the lowest branch, right? Vote. Talk to people, because many people don't know. Climate is sort of seen as this liberal, nice if we can get it kind of thing. And many people don't realize how critical it is, and how, the 2019 report said 11 years. If we pass 2030 and still haven't gotten our shit together, like, civilization is at stake, like, get your shit together. So talk to each other, make sure people are getting it in the news, make sure it's in people's consciousness. Research, so that's putting the work in. Also supporting research institutions, which we've taken a step backward in here in the US, but I'm sure there's lots of other countries who are still investing in their science institutions, their research institutions, and that's hopeful. After research, I have publicize, which is kind of like talk, especially if you're on the social media scenes as we are at YouTube. Brainstorm, mutual aid, resilience networks. And you may have heard me talk about this before. In looking for my people, one of the experiments that I've done is getting out of my house and getting out of the pandemic funk and meeting up with folks for potlucks, for brunch, for attending events, for mending circle, right? There's all sorts of activities that are free, that are not consumption based, that are not co-opted by monopolies, that you can just do for free with other people. So that's a great starting place. You find your doorway, you put some work in, and then you can meet some people and they will make your life richer. So that's win-win-win, right? What else do I have? Mutual aid, resilience networks, make art. Okay. All right. I didn't say this at the beginning, but Earth Day is the theme. And you may have seen the bumper sticker that says, Earth without art is eh. Which I love, because ART taken out of EH is eh. So it's basically making the point that, we're humans and we have this capacity for beauty and wonder and awe. And we do that through art. And why would we, again, leave the low-hanging fruit on the branch? We need to use that to live our lives, to feel fulfilled. So just an encouragement to make art, even if you don't think you're an artist. Change the supply chains, vote with your wallet, ask for help, and respond to asks. Now, this is the hard one, because I think a lot of us have gotten into individualist silos and not asking for help, because that's not how Americans do. But, that is how we're going to have to do if we're going to have interdependence and communities coming together to stave off the most terrible effects of the climate crisis. So I am working on that as well. And then the final one is just the micro community. So you may have heard me talk about readathons that I run. The Black Author Tuber Readathon is like something to do for Black History Month for Black authors, but authors that are on YouTube, because that's the smallest community where I think I can apply some pressure or get some visibility, right? In the larger author community, I'm of course a tiny, tiny little shrimp. But in the author YouTube community, I feel like, oh, I can actually have some chance to get their names out, to get some books told, to get people talking about their books, which of course is good for a marginalized population in a social media channel that does the marginalizing through algorithms. So with Climathon, hashtag Climathon community, we don't use that yet, but hey, it could take up. This is just a way for me to say, yes, please read for Climathon. It's a thing. There's all these great topics to do deep dives in, or just wet your whistle, right? There's lots of different recommendations on Storygraph. If you go to the reading challenge on Storygraph, there's lots of videos in my Climathon 2025-2026 playlist. If you go check that out on my channel for playlists, just lots of people doing great work, putting in work, meeting people. And what I would love to see is more people commenting on the Climathon videos, not just mine. Everything in the playlist is other people who do Climathon reviews, challenges, buddy reads, anything like that, and tag it, right? So I'll search out, tag it. If I know that people are reading it, put it in the playlist, because that's trying to create some Climathon community, because I think Climathon readers are the best readers, right? So I would love to see more of people get active on that. You can post if you're not a video maker. You can post on your community tab. You can leave comments, as I said. You can read and discuss and review. A lot of times people will read reviews, and if they say, oh, these were the best lessons I found on this, for example, the Blue Machine, when I read the book about the ocean, that was fascinating and really useful. And I'm probably behind on reviews because of the tax season bit, but that sort of thing could be really helpful for other people finding the people that they need, right, for community. Review, donate if you have money to donate, endorse if you have any sort of clout, shout out. I have taken to doing shout outs. I love those because, again, tiny, tiny little shrimp in the community. But if I can shout out someone who's doing great work like Tasman, or like the authors during Black Author Tube Readathon, that's an easy opportunity to get people's eyes on things that like don't get a lot of time. And then I have inform about local issues. Ooh, yeah, and share news. So several people in my Climathon community who are viewers have put in, oh, here's what's happening in my community. Here's what's happening in my community. On TikTok is how I get a lot of news about, I don't know, warehouse fires and stuff like that. So there's independent channels that create community that help us stay aware. And I would say the next step, or 2 steps forward, would be creating mutual aid networks. And by that, I mean people asking for help and people responding to those asks. So that's my aspirational goal with the Climathon community. So we'll see. I will probably update the grid, the bingo board that Tasman did for next year, because she's handing it over with her life changes going on. And if you've got input for how you would like to see Climathon pivot or highlight something in particular, or endorse a certain event, anything like that, definitely drop it down below. I'd love to hear. And if anyone wants to participate as help planning in advance, that would be awesome. So yeah, so that's my climate activism for the moment, the experiments that I'm doing, the people that I'm meeting, the fabulous things that I'm learning through reading and listening. And I hope that other people are getting the amazing nectar, as the Ganges is called, of this type of news and education that's free and all that. So, Answer for cat paw. I never heard about Earth Day until about 10 years ago. I have no positive memories to share, just ones who'd get you demonetized. I feel like, okay, one of the most impressive scenes to me from the Hunger Games franchise, and I haven't seen the last 2 movies maybe, is the song Are You Coming to the Tree, which of course is haunting, sort of like Appalachian based a cappella, but then they put in an orchestral version, and then they have the blowing up of the dam, and it's so inspirational. It's the most compelling sequence to me because you have the violence juxtaposed with people who are out of other options, and so like this is how they get the attention, and it's just the line is drawn from one to the other. It's great. Kappa says, I'm like that old woman in the green thing story meme, but I do have grocery bags I've made from scraps, and I give them away too, sometimes in lieu of wrapping paper. Oh, that's cool. So there's a oh, and I'm gonna forget what it is. There's a word, and I usually know it, but I just looked up forest bathing, and so that's the last Japanese word in my mind. But anyway, there's a word for when you wrap gifts in cloth, like a scarf kind of cloth, and it's reusable. And like the art of tying off the thing to make it really pretty in Japan, that yeah, that's I think that's like the inspiration for this. And making it yourself is like bonus expert points. That's very cool. Julie's answer, I remember the original ecology movement in the 70s. Yeah. Starting with the first Earth Day on April 22nd, 1970. Amazing. My mom was a recycling warrior, washing out cans and peanut butter containers, etc. Yeah, I do that. I still do that. I try to go glass instead of plastic for peanut butter, but I use that. And then I go to the refillery. You may want to check, you all out there, if you have a refillery or a bulk shop near you. They've come to Portland. Of course, we're probably in the avant-garde for this, but maybe you have one near you, depending on the fluctuations of business in your area. But these are shops where they have everything in bulk that you can fill your own containers, so you're not creating packaging crap, which is either going to be recycled and lose part of its usefulness and use up virgin materials, or just get thrown into a landfill and produce carbon and other noxious gases. So yeah, look up refillery or bulk store near you and see if there's a result on Google Maps or any other maps app that you happen to use. Julie says, I watched her and I've done the same as an adult. Yes, yes, my people. I'm seeing my people. See, there we go. Eva says, hello. None come to mind, but I was in the ecology club in 7th grade at one of the schools I attended that year. That's cool. What do you remember from ecology club? Did you like hikes and stuff, or like pick up on trails? That'd be fun. We never had one of those. Julie says, yes, Eva, I remember the movement in the 70s too. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, hiking. We should do some more hiking. I watched a video a couple days ago where someone had been out and observed that there were a lot of non-native species that had been pulled out and put in the middle of the trail to sort of dry up and die and have someone else collect them. So that meant, in the video taker's idea, that there had been hikers before who were taking out non-native plants. I was like, that's cool that they know what is non-native. They were taking action and, putting it there for someone else to carry out. I thought that's cool. And a lot of people liked that idea as well. Let's see. Eva says, we picked up litter from a nearby creek. Yes. Otherwise, I think we just learned what ecology was. Yeah. When I was in AmeriCorps just after college, we had, not for Earth Day, but for Cesar Chavez Service Day. They'll probably have to change the name now, but January had a service day on like the 3rd Monday or something, and we didn't go to work. We had a special day where we did a service project, and the one I remember was a creek cleanup, and I remember seeing like weird colored things in the mud that I could not identify. And I don't know if they were crawdads or if there was some kind of like tadpole, but it really grossed me out. You know what? I needed to do it, so it's fine. Oh, but yeah, you just recalled that memory that I had not thought about for decades. That's awesome. Cat Paw says, I do that too, Julie. We reuse and repurpose everything. And I mention it too in Andino Andina. Indie book. You just edited this, so it's not published yet, correct? But you let us know. Yeah. ClimathonCommunity. I love it. I can talk about my current blue reads. That was my next category. Unfortunately, Mexicans, okay, this is where Cat Paw lives, aren't that keen on clothes repairs, but I can't talk. I was like that too in my late teens and early 20s. I'm not that poor. Yeah, it's a mindset thing. So if you follow Lena Norms, she's a great person for like being a fashion person and thrifting a lot, and then just really like jumping in with, I don't know how to sew, but that would be really useful in my line since I'm a environmentalist, and just like taking people along with her on the journey of frustrating discoveries of how to do certain sewing repairs and everything. And that's great. That's admirable. I watch other videos where people are showing how to do repairs, and of course been to Mending Club a couple times, and that's just really nice. I'm doing the most basic thing, but it takes me a long time. And so if I keep doing that basic thing over and over, eventually I'll get faster, and eventually I'll be able to participate in the conversation and the circle at the same time as I do the thing. I have faith. I have faith. Ooh, Cat Paw's got news. They've got a pub date for Andino Andina. That's amazing. Yay. And is it going through Draft to Digital because it's Smashwords? Because they're under the same umbrella now. Or are you going to do something direct? It's a hard decision now after Anita's AF Stewart just put up the video about Draft to Digital in case you want to check it out. I haven't watched the full thing yet. I just left a comment because it's on my list of watch later. Eva says we suck at all things in this house. But, you know, there's that quote about failing up, failing better. Not failing up in like the white male way, but, you know, the failing to learn basically is how we learn, is by trying and failing and analyzing it, not just taking our ball and going home. Eva says lots of room for improvement, gobs of space for doing better, big, huge opportunities. Yeah, there's a word for that. Something gap assessment, something like that. It's from my wonky days. Cat Paw says, I'll teach anyone to repair if they only want to learn, which is amazing. Yeah, it's the opposite. So ask for help, respond to asks. This is an offer to help, which is brilliant. It may be a local thing though, if you don't have the internet connection to do like Zoom classes. But yeah, that's great. Okay, Cat Paw's going through Draft to Digital. All right, well, we got to get you above $20 a year in sales then, right? Eva says, I'll use the kids' future as motivation and kickstart doing better on Earth Day. Yay! It's a not a motto. What's the word I'm looking for? Not a milestone, not a goal. Pledge, like Girl Scouts do. Yeah, check out Anita's video today. So yeah, great. She's on the ball. And then Eva says, teaching him to care at all as the motivation. The kid's future. I think I get what you mean. Yeah. Julie says, I just mended a pair of my unmentionables yesterday, a stitch in time. Exactly. So I've got repairs that I did that are coming undone. I had a pair of jeans that I used a piece of wool plaid because I got lots of scraps of wool plaid from where I used to work. And it's coming up at one. I could put my finger through it again. It's right at the waistband. So I need to do it again. Which an early repair is the one that you're going to have to do again. But, you know, it was a learning experience. Oh, it's $100 in sales over the year. Yeah. See, I told you I scanned the email. Or you have to pay $12 to maintain the account. Yeah. That's the news. $100 in sales. I mean, I get more than that across all the channels over the year, but not draft to digital. Unless I publish a book, and I only publish a book every 2 years. So I'll have to look at my figures. I keep a spreadsheet on sales that's more reliable than all the other things across all the sites. So Eva says, I spent $88 to order a takeaway the other day. I regret it. Oh, oh, but I bet you got lots of leftovers. I did the thing where I paid too much for a fancy cheese last night at the farmer's market, and I paid, and then I realized, wait, what did I just pay for that? Oops. Yeah. And the $20 is the activation fee. Right. Yeah, at least we don't have to pay that. Like, I don't think their fee is going to stop much. They claim it'll stop. Yeah, that's what Anita's point was when she responded to my comment. So yeah, right on. Same thoughts. I need to start a sourdough starter. You know, the amount of people that I said, oh yeah, I want to do bread as a routine thing too. I have failed multiple times at sourdough starting. But it is a noble goal. I think having the bread routine is one benefit, but also not disrupting the supply chains. Let's call it that. Disrupting the supply chains that give you non-nutritious bread is a noble goal as well. So by making your own, you're cutting out the middleman, you're cutting out the transportation, you're cutting out the subsidies to the wheat farmers if you get, you know, your local flour or whatever, which is really expensive. But you know, if you have a sourdough starter, you're paying for less each time. So I really want to do it. I keep seeing people do it. Lady Lovestead Reads just made it her goal, and she's posted a few loaves and she's gotten good at it already. And I'm like, see, that just happened before my eyes, and I still haven't done it myself. But I was traveling back and forth, so starter would not have done well. Eva says, let's fail together. I like that. That's my rainbow statement. I may make a different thumbnail. Yeah, let's do that. I'll 4151. I'll make that the thumbnail. That'll be great. Eva says it's a new moon. Great time to set intentions. Oh, right. It's the 17th. Set intentions for the coming weeks. Yeah. So set an Earth Day intention. That's a good one. Nice. All right. So let's go into current reads. Anyone want to share? Anything remotely climate related would be great, but not necessary. My current reads are all blue, as I said. I've got the one that I quoted from, On Time and Water by Andri Snær Magnusson. He's Icelandic, so I have no idea how to pronounce that. I started the Winnie the Pooh book by A.A. Milne. It's weird. I don't remember reading it, but it's kind of confusing. I'm reading it for the Mr. B's Readathon Challenge on Storygraph. I've got to read a children's book. I read the poetry book. I need to read the favorites from Mr. B's list, which is Memory Police, which I have, and a graphic novel, which I haven't decided yet. I don't think I have one to read. And Left Hand of Darkness, this fabulous one I got recently, and I'm reading with the Hainish Cycle folks. So they've already read 3 books. This is the first one I'm jumping in on because of life issues. But yeah. And then I'll wait for you guys to drop in your current reads while I talk about my little blue book haul last night. So I went into the used bookstore downtown, not sure that I was going to purchase anything. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, I've been looking for this forever, to use copy, right? It's a book about consumption by H.A. Barber, who's a famous author on the subject in the UK. And, you know, awesome. And I just couldn't bring myself to buy it new. But I finally found it, $6, which, you know, Elaine will not be impressed by, but at the rate I buy books, I was like, oh, $6 is a deal. It's probably like 6 years old now, so not the newest, but really good. And Lena Norms, I think, talked about this for one of her book clubs, so I've been wanting it since then. And then I saw Jeff Goodell's book. He wrote The Heat Will Get You First, which is fabulous. It's kind of like journalism that talks to people, interviews people in depth about a local issue, and then sort of relates it to the whole thing. So the one I read about was about heat effects. So you think like heat exhaustion, air conditioning effects, hospital pressures, all the things that heat will affect, like urban heat islands, building materials, what have you. fascinating. And this is about water. So I thought that'll be really good because water, water's the thing. I've been paying attention to water a bit more lately. And then the third one I found is Cradle to Cradle, Remaking the Way We Make Things. So this is about like circular economy stuff and not wasting. So if waste is one of your doorways into the Climathon community, like this should be helpful. This book is not made of a tree. This book is not a tree. It's the first like introduction chapter. And I was like, oh, it's very heavy. So I'm wondering what it's made from. Obviously recycled from something because it's on the waste issue. But I will enjoy finding that out. Okay, what about your current reads, guys? Let me hear them. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Eva, I think you missed it, but I was like, yes, we've got Earth Day on Wednesday, the 22nd. Charlotte Bronte's birthday is the 21st. Shakespeare's is the 23rd on Thursday, and then Independent Bookstore on Saturday, the 25th. So lots to celebrate next week. Anita says, I'm still trying to find time to read and finish the review copies I got for Shannon's Romantasy books. Yeah. Is that coming up soon? Is there a deadline? Or are you currently reading them? Or is this an imminent read? Eva says, I've been buddy reading Dogman books with my son. Oh, that's cute. Those are graphic novel too, aren't they? I think I'm calling up they look like graphic novels in my head, but maybe I'm confusing it with Wimpy Kid. What have we got? We've got a Mike from Riff Raff Reads. Hello. I'm also reading Left Hand of Darkness to join the Hanish group for one book only. It helps to know Gareth. Yes, exactly. I don't think I've seen you in the Voxer chat, but hopefully we'll all be in the live discussion group because that'll be interesting. I am on page 101 exactly, which I think is not yet halfway. So interesting. Eva says, I have chapters from Morgan Lee to beta read that I keep forgetting about. Oh, well, I'm glad you got reminded here today. Cat Paw says, I'm reading A Conflict of Interest by Claire Gradich, the third book in the Josephine Fox series. It's a 4.5 star so far and may rise. It's a good title. Yes, this is one of the ones you recommended to me, and it's in my Storygraph. I just haven't found the author in any of my used bookstores. I do check. Julie says, I'm almost done reading The Warden by Anthony Trollope. That's the first one, right? I did read the first and the second, I believe. They're fun. Climate reading was fungi, fascinating, and will be the songs of trees. Yay! Excellent. Oh, Eva says, community yard sales next weekend for us. So this weekend is getting all this crap out of here. You mean you're going to them or you're offering them? The fact that it's plural, yard sales, makes me think that you're going to them, but getting all the crap out makes me think you're offering it. Maybe you're doing both. Who knows? Cat Paw says, I'd saved it for when I needed serious distraction, in this case, from pain. Cat Paw and Julie, yeah, both here on a bad pain day. I'm sorry. And Dogman, yes, are graphic novels, comics. That's cool. That's cool. Book fair just ended at his school. Oh, okay. So he got a bunch of Dogman. That's fun. And he says, no deadline, but I got review copies from library things, so don't want to leave too long. Oh, okay. They made like grade you, do a percentage, kind of like NetGalley, maybe. I don't know. But that's cool. That's a neat way to deliver beta copies. Eva says, I'm hosting one at my home, as are my neighbors in our town. Okay. So that sounds kind of like a yard sale. It's a trunk sale because you can like, or a flea market where you go and you like can watch as well as sell. That's fun. Yeah, I can't do that here really. And I can't really do that at the apartment. So I have to stick to like thrifting, which is fun. I'm actually going to be thrifting later today, just checking out the clothes at the local thrift store. Current reads, excellent. And yesterday's blue haul. So here's the total blue shelf that I have this morning. I just thought that was fun. It's all blue all the time here. But yeah, that is the climate themed, Earth Day themed. Please get involved. Please join the Climathon community pitch for the day. And like I said, it's the 17th today, 22nd, next Wednesday is Earth Day, and the 25th, Saturday is Independent Bookstore Day. So if you can make a plan to do something on either day, you can celebrate community either here on YouTube or in your own neighborhood, street, and, publicize, get the word out, make people aware, and keep talking about it to make it essential and important in people's lives. So Eva says, after the community sales is a prime time to dumpster dive. Oh, okay, nice. Nothing is coming back into this house. This is my line I'm seeing. Anita says, I have 100% review score on Library Thing. It is a matter of pride. Excellent. So they do grade you and you want to keep your grades high. That is excellent. Eva said, glad I caught you. Great books and activism. Oh, you're the bestest, Eva. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching and being here today. I am here every Wednesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, typically for an hour about a topic, whether it's a wrap up or a book tag or a feature like today about holidays and events. And then I also do some AuthorTube things when I have something special. So hopefully you're here for the BookTube and AuthorTube and Climathon. I'm not going to try to do a tube with that, but Climathon. And yeah, let me know your plan. Let me know your emoji for the Friday. Otherwise, happy Friday, happy reading, and take care, everybody. Start a car boot sale thing then, Margaret. Fill the car with things to sell. Get a gang of 20 cars or more together in a car park and start a trend. I think people do this for Halloween, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch. So that is something to consider. This is great advice. All right, everyone. I look forward to your comments and the Climathon community. And happy weekend, everyone. Take care.